Namaskaram, Shri Matre Namaha. Let's begin. Om Bijapuragdekshkarmakurajapchakrapchapashotphala Vrayyagraswapishanratnakalashaif prodhyatkaram Deyo vallabhaya sapadmakaraya ashlishtojvalat bhushaya Vishwotpatti vipatti samsati karo vignesha ishtardadha Srinathadi gurutrayam ganapatim pitatrayam bhairavam Siddhaugam vatukatrayam padayugam dhuti kramam mandalam वीरान्ध्यष्टचतुष्कषष्टिनवकं वीरावळी पञ्चकं श्रीमन्मालिनिमन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम् माधर्मे मधुकैटभग्निमहिषः प्राणापहारोऽध्यमे हेलानिर्मितधूम्रलोचनवधे हे चण्डमुण्डार्धिनी निःशेषीकृतरक्तबीजदनुजे नित्ये निशुम्भापहे शुम्भध्वंसिनि संहर सुदुरितन् दुर्गे नमस्तेऽम्बिके सर्वं श्रीचण्डी महालक्ष्मी श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः सद्गुरुं श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः. Welcome all of you for this another session on the Kashi Mahima series that we have been looking into the Kashi Puranam. Today, the last class, we spoke very vividly upon the Pitru Tarpana and the reasons, more than the reasons as why we have to perform the Pitru Tarpana. We understood how the soul is traveling from the material world to the different dimensions of the other world, and what we are supposed to do in terms of the Runanu Bandhanam, that is the blood relationship that we carry with the departed ones, or the emotional relationship that we carry with the departed souls. How we are bridging these dimensions is what we learned. Moving forward, the Kashi Mahima is very clearly stating that we spoke about the Purnima and the Amavasya, correct? On the Amavasya day, it is the men who perform the Tarpanam, and on the Purnima, it is actually traditionally for mothers. What is called as a fasting is performed, it seems. So this is the way this entire what is called as the Runanu Bandhan is actually covered, or rather the Purti, what we call a kind of a finishing of the depths for the ancestor is performed. So the Kashi Mahima is saying that the Purnima and the Amavasya is nothing but the relationship, or what we call the sun and the moon coming together in a particular dimension actually. That sun and the moon coming together, that is sun is Bhairavar and moon is Bhairavi, the masculine and the feminine energies of the Kala Shakti coming in a particular manner together. And that at that sandhi, that sandhi is when they are coming together. That is the energy of Bhairavar and the energy of Bhairavi coming together. When we perform these acts of what is called as the depth, the depth clearance, this is considered to be a very important towards what is called as a beautiful way of helping the departed souls, and also logically cutting off our relationship with them, because in the sadhana, as we understand, unless and until there is no cut off of all these relationships in a formal manner, we cannot reach what is called as the higher planets actually, which is very important for us. Unless and until we are not able to cut off these relationships, just like that we cannot cut off, you understand, that's what we have been talking about. There is a systematic way of doing it. And the systematic way is given in Tantram, it is given in the Shastram, it is given in the Vedam, and it is given for everybody beautifully. It's not meant for only a few set of individuals are supposed to do, and a few set of individuals are not supposed to do. The Veda or the Tantra is not differentiating. It is asking every one of us to do it actually. In various ways we do it actually, and the only thing is that we are supposed to do it, and with the right intention and with the right what is called as a bhavana, we are supposed to unfold it. So the Kashi Mahima, as we saw, this Pitru Tarpanam is given a very central focus in Kashi Mahima actually. And the Kashi Mahima very clearly says that whatever we are talking in terms of this Pitru Tarpanam, this is not today or yesterday somebody is doing actually. The Kashi Mahima itself is quoting Vashishta Maharishi, Dasaratha, Dushyanta, Nalan, Achindran, including Sri Bhagavan Ramar, have performed what is called as Pitru Tarpanam. So it is something since time immemorial it has been performed. Since time immemorial it has been performed, which means what? There is definitely a science involved in it actually. And we cannot deny that science actually. And just because of the reason we are not able to perceive that science, we cannot in a way disregard it actually, particularly those who wanted to do sadhana, those who wanted to go beyond the dimensions of this material world and attain that eternal world of Sri Puram. If that is what the ideas we have, so we are supposed to bridge this gap actually. Unless and until we will not be able to bridge this gap, bridge this gap, what is called as the runanu bandhan, it is not going to work out, because repeatedly the Shastram is saying that you are with all these ties, and how to get over these ties in a beautiful and a prescribed manner is what is very important actually. It particularly what the Shastram is talking about. You cannot simply say that today is over and done with, I'm going to leave this house, I'm going to leave my society, I'm going to leave the country, and this is more than enough for me, I'm going to go and sit in a forest. That is not the way it can happen actually. There is a system, there is a process, and you need to go through that, and you need to fulfill all those duties, which is called to be, you fulfill all those duties, and then you see that you are traversing from one step to the other, which is very important. So we spoke about this Pitru Tarpanam in this particular dimension, and Kashi is talking about, okay, Pitru Tarpanam, Runanubandhan is getting, there's this, there is this, what to call, there's you are completing the depth, and you are following the procedure and everything. But what is that very important element that you need for Pitru Tarpanam? When Kashi is identifying this, with the Kashi Mahatmyam is identifying it, it is talking about what is called as the concept of water, the jalam. Water is a very important element in any of the rituals. That, Agni and Jalam. In fact, all the Panchabhutas are very important. Here specifically, there is this concept of what is called as, the Jala Pravrti is very important. So what kind of Jalam? Jalam means water in Sanskritam. So what is this? What is the water that we require? Because it has to be Pavitra Pavana Jalam actually. That is what the Kashi Mahima is talking about. It is just not any other Jalam, but it should be Pavitra Pavana Jalam. Number one. Number two, the Kashi Mahima is also talking about, like, okay, fine. It's not that everybody can come to Kashi to perform this Pitru Tarpanam and Pitru Dharma Karyam and everything. So even if Yata Shaktihi Tata Buddhihi, with whatever capacity they wanted to really perform this Pitru Karyam, and they have to use what is called as water as an important element, then that water has to be highly powerful and highly energetic actually, which can in simple ways, what is called as, it can wash away the sins or wash away the karmic debts, or it can give in that kind of what is called as a ritualistic cleansing to whatever we are doing. So what is that water all about? I'm sure you would have guessed it now. It is nothing but Ganga. So Ganga Jalam is needed now actually. So how did Ganga come to Kashi? Okay, or rather, the Kashi Mahima is talking about how Ganga came into the existence itself. Now we are going to look into that particular chapter from the Kashi Mahatmya. It is said that Parameshwara, we know that the trinities, that is Brahma, Vishnu, Sada, Shiva, are the ones who are performing the three important satkaryams as handed over by Parashakti. As we know that very clearly now. So what are the three satkaryams that Brahma, Vishnu, Sadashiva is doing? Shrishti, Sthiti, Samharam actually. These are the three things that it is being, we are doing actually. So when we are doing these three satkaryams, the most important thing the Kashi Mahima is actually discussing is, Parameshwara himself is capable of doing these three Satkaryams, and that is witnessed in what is called as the Kashi Kshetram, it seems. That is, as somebody who can do Shrishti Karanam, he's called to be Ananda Bhairava. As a Srishtikarta, he's called to be Ananda Bhairava. As somebody who's protector, he's called to be Kala Bhairava. And somebody as who is performing what is called as the annihilation. Please understand that is not destruction in English, it is annihilation. There is a huge difference between annihilating something and destructing something. He's not destroying something. We are the ones who destroy, actually. He doesn't destroy. It is called as annihilating. What is the difference, fundamental difference between annihilating and destroying? Suppose I'm tearing off the paper, for example, in a simple sense, that is destroyed because I can't bring it back to that original form. Okay. When Parameshwara is doing what is called as annihilating that same paper, he can bring it back to its original form again, actually. So he is not destroying. He's annihilating it. So in the concept of annihilation, Parameshwara is called to be Kalagni Bhairava. That is what the Kashi Mahima is, identifying the three important dimensions of Bhairava Swami. That is Ananda Bhairava, Kala Bhairava, and then Kalagni Bhairava. These are the three ways in which the Kashi Mahima is actually looking into what is called as the Bhairava Swarupa. So these three aspects of Bhairava, what is the primary source? Sadhashiva is the primary Swarupam. Sadhashiva is the primary Swarupam. And Kashi Mahima is very clearly giving in this difference. How can I differentiate between, between Sadashiva and Bhairava, actually, if they are one and the same? Like, for example, if now one of our dear new student, for example, Dinesh, now is sitting in another altogether a different continent. It's a different time zone, sitting in the office. So in office, he's a different Dinesh. The same Dinesh, when he will go to house, he's a different Dinesh, actually. Correct? One person only, but doing two different kinds of actions and activity. That is a simple understanding which Kashi Mahima is talking about. When Parameshwara is in Sampurna Krodha Swarupam, Krodha Bhavam. Why that Krodha Bhavam? Of course, we understand. You all understand that why Kali is having Krodha Bhavam. Was that clear to all of you from the foundation classes of Kali? Why she is angry? This why she has to be terrific. Why she is very fierce. This question was answered in our class, actually. The same concept is applied here in Kala Bhairava Swami. So that fierceness has an understanding, actually. Why he has to be fierce? Because somebody who is very soft cannot do these larger activities of what is called as washing away of the karma and, the entire, bringing back the dimension into the same ways what it was, you cleanse it completely and then you bring it back to its original form and all. It needs a personality, basically. It needs a sharpness. It needs a very different way of doing it. So the Kashi Mahima is very clearly saying when Swami is doing those kind of activities, he is called to be Kala Bhairava. When he is Ananda Murti, when he is realizing that Aham Brahmasmi Tattvam, he is Dakshina Murti. So these two forms are nothing but Sadashiva only. Sada iti Ishwaraha. What is Sada iti Ishwaraha? That Ishwara Tattvam which is present in the Sampurna Prapancham, actually. Sada Shiva, that is what is Shivaha, that it is eternally there. Sada iti Shivaha, Sada Shivaha. And that Sada Shiva is the one who is taking the form of Dakshinamurti, very specifically, having a very different personality, doing very specific activity. The same Sadashivaha is taking what is called as a Bhairava Swami Swarupam and performing very specific activities, actually. Got it, all of you? The only limitation is that I gave the example of human being. When we are into business, when we are into work, we can do focus only there at that point of time. We can focus only that particular dimension of our activity. We can be there. When we come to our home, when we come to our personal self, that is a very different. But for them, though they have a differentiated personality, but they are still in that Sachidananda Swarupam only. There is no differentiation from them. Though the outwardly they are doing that Dvaitam, that Advaitam and Dvaitam, that Eka Bhavam and then Aneka Bhavam. They are doing Aneka Tattvam, that is differentiated activities they are doing, but still they are in their Sachidananda Swarupam only. There is no difference in that. Just because of the reason Swami is so annoyed, Bhairava Swami is so fearful, we cannot say that he is not in Sachidananda Swarupam just because Dakshinamurti is sitting very calm and composed actually. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because that same Dakshinamurti who was sitting very calm and composed, he is the one who just opened his Trinetram and burnt Manmada actually. Correct? So, so, so the personality, but they can do Aneka Eka Bhavam, though they have a very unique personality, but since they are Sachidananda Vigraha, they can do multiple activities. Like, for example, as I said, Dinesh, when he's in office, he can be only in office. When he comes back to home, only he can be in home. But for Swami, it is not like that. He can be both in home, both in office at the same time, actually. So that is the qualitative and the quantitative difference that is there for what is called as Bhagavan. The qualitative and the quantitative difference. And that is the reason that Bhaga, that Bhag Shakdam is what? It is very heavy. It is very cumbersome, actually. It's a very cumbersome thing, actually. That's the reason Bhagavan is called to be what? Sachidananda. It's a bit theory, actually. I know I slowly injected theory, I do not know how many of you have understood this, but this is what the Kashi Kala Bhairava Mahima is saying. That is, in other words, how is Kala Bhairava is different from Kashi Vishwanatha? Yes, they are different. So it means that are they different? No, they are same also. How they are same? How they are different? You should be able to understand it theoretically, and you should be able to have the anubhuti through the sadhana actually. That is very important. They are not the same, yet they are the same. How they are same and how they are not same. So why I am saying this, students? Because you would have seen, I do not know how many of you are following the readings. Even Dinesh and Jayalakshmi Amma, the articles that we have been constantly publishing on the Kashi Mahima with the classes and also the write-ups that is coming up, they have mentioned what is called as Taraka Namam actually. That is, the Samharam is performed by Bhairavar, the Shanti is given by Kashi Vishwanatha Swami for the Pitrus. Samharam, Shanti. How extreme both are actually. Samharam is performed by Bhairavar and Shanti is performed by whom? Vishwanatha Swami. And how Shanti is performed? The Taraka Nama is given to the departed soul. And the Taraka Nama is the what is called to be the gate pass for the soul to enter the other planet in a very swift manner. I've seen in US airports and all, they have what is called the TSK checkup or something that you can go very quickly, like apart from the, you don't have to stand in line and go through all these hassles. You can go by the easy, even in India, we have in today's time, it is because the Digi Yatra, like they have a very different line, where you can surpass the line and go. So it's something similar to the Taraka Nama. Now the question will come, now we are not getting into the debate at all because it is said that Vishwanatha is giving Ramanamas, the Tarakanama. Otherwise they say that Shivanama itself is Tarakanama. If Shiva, Vishnu, everything and the same for us at the end of the day, we are not getting into that debate at all. But predominantly, it is accepted that Ramanama is the Tarakanama which Shiva is giving in Kashi, and this is honored by Rama himself in Rameshwaram actually. That's the reason Rama performed the Pujanam Tarpanam of Parameshwara in Rameshwaram actually. So both, that's the reason the Kashi and Rameshwaram have a kind of an interlink actually. And that's the reason when the Pitru and all these aspects are performed, there's a huge connection between what is Kashi and what is Rameshwaram actually. We'll look into that later. So now coming back to the foundation, the central question. So one is performing samharam and the other is performing what is called shantihi. For the samharam and shantihi, for both the aspect, jalam is important now. That is, water is important. So what is the water that is there? What is the water that should be used? Or what is the powerful element of water that should be there? Then it is Ganga. Then the concept of Ganga is coming into existence. And this Pavana Charitram of Ganga Devi is given in Kashi Mahima. So let us look into Ganga Charitram, because the Kashi Mahima is saying, the one who is listening to Ganga Charitram, it seems that the Ganga is going to come and flow in the right ears of the individual itself, it seems, and it is going to cleanse the individual. That is, I mean, starting itself, the Kashi Mahatmyam is giving this blessings to everybody. If you have come across to this to read or to listen, the Kashi Mahima is saying that Ganges is going to flow in your ears, it seems. And flowing into the ears means what? In other words, that cleansing is happening for both the body, mind, actually, which is going to touch where? To the soul. So that is the blessing it is giving, and then it is taking us within the Charitram of Ganga. Most of you know the story of Ganga, coming from the Devalokam, and Shiva captures in the, and then it comes through what is called as the it goes as a pravaham in our bhumi. Correct? You all know that? No, you don't know that. Very good. Now let me tell you the whole story. Listen to it. Those who don't know anything are the best students of Chandi Tantra Mahavidyalaya. Having some knowledge and coming here and thinking what I heard like this, but he's saying like this and all. What is this? Which is the I have this confusion. All this is going to be really worst. So whatever I'm saying, if you blindly believe, that is good for me actually, and good for you also, so that we can carry the tradition forward. So let me tell you what the Kashi Mahatmyam is talking about here. When we talk about Ganga, the immediate reference is very interestingly going to something of a very twist. You would be not even realizing where it is going to actually. The Ganga, the Avirbhavam of Ganga, that is the Janma of Ganga, is taking first to what is called as the very famous Bali Chakravarti actually. It is the story is starting with Bali Chakravarti. So it seems that once Dharmaraja, that is the Dharmaraja of the Pandavas, and Krishna is visiting Bali Chakravarti. This is post the story of where Vamana has sent Bali to the Patala Lokam actually. Now you don't know that story, we will come there later. It is just coming in. So where is Bali Chakravarti? Which place he is in? Patala Lokam. And who are the two individuals who is going to visit Bali Chakravarti? Dharmaraja and Sri Krishna Paramatma is going to visit. So obviously two important guests have come in. So what happens? They have been beautifully welcomed as guests, and they were served, they went during the lunchtime, it seems. So they were served lunch, Pancha Paksha Parimanam. That's what they say. Actually, beautiful lunch. I mean, a very tasty and a beautiful lunch. Both, it was looking good also for the eyes and also tasty for the tongue actually. And they ate and everything. And while eating, they both realized, it seems, it was served in gold plate, it seems. Swarna Kanchanam, gold plate. And they both realized, oh, this is gold. So what they did, they slowly picked up the plate and they washed it, it seems, because it is gold, right? They cannot just like that leave and go. So they both took it to the sink area, which you all, I don't know how many of you really wash your plates. I know you'll simply throw it away and somebody will come and wash it if you're that good. But indirectly, there are certain things it is coming. See, Krishna Paramatma and Dharmaraja himself have washed their plate actually. So think about it. So they have taken it to the water and they are washing, it seems. There quietly, the people who are in that particular Seva area in the Bali Chakravarti's palace, they are saying, it's okay, there is no need for you to, both of you to do it. It is absolutely fine. They thought that for formality, they are saying, and they will wash and keep. But the concept is not that. They are simply very politely saying, we don't use the plate in which the food is offered to one individual. What? Gold plate. And they both were so terrifically shocked, it seems. What, gold plate? They don't serve it once again. Okay, fine, fair enough. It was just kept. And then they proceed towards, you know, towards meeting the Raja, because now Khan Pan सब कुछ हो गया, तो अभी तो आगे जाएंगे. So they are going to meet Bali Chakravarti. Bali greeted him and they all spoke. So they are like typically, I think, Krishna Paramatma and Dharmaraja, they are like us, they behave like us. So before even they could talk, they spoke about this, it seems, actually. So like, you are serving food in gold plate, and then we are seeing the fact that, you have, you are not even using the plate, it seems. Reuse is not there. So what is it all about? So for that, Bali Chakravarti is very casually and coolly, in a very humble manner, he is answering, it seems, that yeah, we don't use it. Per day, I am serving around just 500 people food in gold plate. Every day, I am doing that, actually. Then it was like very shocking. So instead of showing the shock, we know about our Krishna, right? Our sarcastic Krishna, always making sarcasm and always making fun of all the things. So Krishna is asking in a very funny and a jovial manner, oh, is there so many of them who are very poor in your kingdom that they have to be served every day for, 500 people are served every day like this? Is this Annadanam is going on? Then he is saying, it seems, Bali Chakravarti is saying, no, no, Krishna, I know your intention of asking this to me. The reason why I am serving this is because the Rajyam is preparing for an Ashwamedha Mahayajnam. And in the Ashwamedha Mahayajnam, there are certain protocols which needs to be followed. And we have been following that protocols. And one of the protocol is serving Atithis on a everyday basis for a particular days in gold plate. That Karyakramam is going on. And that's the reason we wanted to perform this, this Bhojana Karyam, this Annadhana Karyam is going on. Annadhanam, just imagine, in gold plate, actually. So this Annadhana Karyam is going on, actually. Now, if Krishna has come in, there is definitely some reason is there, actually. So this is what actually Krishna wanted to know. Why you are serving. So he's coming to this, because directly asking is not a right thing, because the Shastram actually condemns us to directly intervene somebody to ask. If somebody is doing something, we are not supposed to go and ask, it seems, why are you doing like this? So Krishna is teaching us how to put it across so that the answer comes from that person's mouth itself, actually. Okay. So the answer came in. Why Bali wanted to perform this Ashwamedha Yajna? Because Bali wanted to go back to taking over what is called as Indralokam. And to take the Indralokam, he needs to perform what is called as the Ashwamedha Mahayajna. Okay. Now Krishna is actually reminding Bali, because Bali is considered to be a great Vishnu Bhakta. Okay, Bali is considered to be a great Vishnu Bhakta. And Bali is also known for his Dhana Dharmam, though he belongs to the Asura, the clan of Asura, but he's a very different kind of an individual. Bali, Prahalada, and all they have a very different dimension of being an Asura, actually. Very interesting and very different. So Krishna has come in to remind Bali very, very subtly. Krishna is actually explaining the story or giving this what is called as the remembrance to Bali. Bali, do you remember the story actually what happened with you, many, many years back? And what is the story that was narrated? But Krishna himself, though 9 avatarams, the Purti, because the Krishna avataram is the 9th avataram. You all know that, correct? And Krishna is saying 9 avatarams have been come to an end, and I have come to remind you what it is all about dharmam. And you remember the Vamana avataram. And then Krishna is starting the story where Vamana comes in to Bali Chakravarti, who was again at that point of time wanted to perform the Ashwamedha Mahayajnam. And upon upon the interest and benefit of Indra, that is, Indra has to do the Raja Paripalanam, particularly for our well-being, because Indra's Raja Paripalanam is meant for this particular logam, the Bhautika logam that we are in actually, because it is because of Indra's governance, we have what is called as the rain and all the crops coming into time and all these, all the flourishing that is happening. So Swami was very much concerned, because if Indra cannot do the activity, everything will collapse actually. And for a particular reason, it is given to Indra. So if Indra has to do all the activities so that the Jivarashis will not have any issues in their daily life actually. So Krishna is reminding, saying that I came as Vamanamurti, that is as a dwarf Brahmin, that as a small, as a young, as a short Brahmana, who came and asked you for 3 foot of land actually. What? 3 foot of land. And, because it is again Ashwame, the Yajna is happening, and you are not supposed to say no when the Yajna is happening. Particularly when somebody who is learned in terms of a Brahmana is coming and asking, means you are supposed to fulfill, because the one who can say no can never perform what is called as a Ashwamedha Mahayajna. So in the name of Vamana, who's claiming that Bharatwaja Mahamuni is my guru, and my Mahamuni guru needs a place to settle down actually. He wants to build a small ashram where he can perform his yaga yajnadi karyas. So I need what? Only 3 foot of space actually. Bali was thinking, such a small fellow coming and asking for 3 foot means, like, what is the big deal to give the 3 foot of land actually? Only 3 foot, this like a child he's asking. So the moment Bali will accept to give it, what happens? Mahavishnu takes the Sampurna Chaitanya Swarupam, that is Vishwarupam, Mahavishnu takes, and in 1 foot, he completely, he measures the entire lokam, Bhulokam, and the other foot, he will do the entire, the upper planets. And in third foot, where he has to keep, because he asked for 3 foot, right, actually. So he keeps it on the head of Bali Chakravarti himself. And by keeping it on the Bali Chakravarti's head, what he does, he instructs Bali that I have taken your space also. So you cannot be in this particular Bhulokam, or you cannot even go to Devalokam, because everything is given to me. So where you can technically go, you can go to Patala Lokam only. So therefore, he landed up in Patala Lokam. And this, again, Perumal, that is Mahavishnu, in the form of Krishna Avataram, is coming and reminding Bali Chakravarti, whatever it is, you are involved in Dharma Karyam, and you are supposed to continue this Dharma Karyam in whatever lokam you are in actually. You have been sent to this lokam for a particular reason, and you are supposed to continue to do this particular activity. Now, the story is unfolding further. Bali Chakravarti is letting us to know one important thing. He is saying that this entire Ashwamedha Yajna that I wanted to do, one way, true, that I wanted to attain the Indra Lokam, and I wanted to do, Indra Paripalana Rajyam I wanted, and I wanted to be the Chakravarti. That is one idea is there, but there is something else which is very important for me actually. There is something else which is very important for me, for which I wanted to perform this Ashwamedha Mahayajna. Now, when this was raised, then Krishna is ready to listen, because this is something very important, because whatever it is, Bali Chakravarti, as I said, is a bhakta. And it is the duty of the Bhagavan to fulfill the needs of the bhakta. Bhakta Bhishta Varapradhayi Namaha. That now, just now in Varahi Ashtotra Sadramavali, most of you learned it actually. Bhakta Bhishtanam. If we are performing bhakti, and if we have a desire, then it is a duty of Bhagavan to fulfill it. Seems now this is what is the theory which we have exploited to centuries actually, and we are going on exploiting also. Just we will light up one lamp and put some chandanam, kumkumam, and some flowers and ask for one Mercedes Benz actually. And Devi will be thinking what to do now with this fellow actually. Bhakta Bhishta Varapradhanam means what, as a bhakti, what you should ask. There is certain things which you should ask actually. You should not land up. I mean, like asking is fine, but you should know what to ask and what not to ask actually. And if you're really asking, are really, what is the usage? How, whether you can have it and whether you can take it up. So many dimensions are there actually. So just because of the reason it is said that Bhakta Bhishta Varapradhanam. Anyway, we will continue that later actually. So then let's get back to this pastime that we have been talking about. So as a Bhakta Bhishta Varapradhaini, Krishna is listening. Like, why is that you wanted to do this actually? Then for that, Bali Chakravarti is started to narrate this incident actually. One second. Kamakshi. Okay. So when Mahavishnu took the form of when Mahavishnu took the form of Vamana, and he took the Vishwarupam. At that point of time, the Mahatmyam is saying that when Bhagavan showed his Vishwarupam and he kept the 3 foots in different spaces, that Pavitra Pavana Charanam, that is the lotus feet of Mahavishnu, was washed by Brahma. That is what we called as the Pada Puja, what we call as a Pada Puja. And that Pada Puja Jalam is what Brahma is carrying in the Kamandalam actually. Brahma is carrying in the Kamandalam. In Brahma's Kamandalam. Brahma has a Kamandalam actually. A celestial jug. Brahma is carrying in the Kamandalam. So now Bali is saying that this Ashwamedha Mahayajna is not directly intended to bring what is called as the Indra Padavi for attaining that Indra's governance-ship for myself. But I'm performing this Ashwamedha Yajna because it had certain other dimensions. I had the sankalpam of performing the Ashwamedha Mahayajna previously. When you came as Vamana, I understand that I had this desire of the Indra Prapti, Indra Padavi Prapti. But now my idea is not about that. My idea is to bring this celestial water down to the earth actually. Now Bali is saying this actually. Now Krishna is asking, why do you need that water? Or rather, Krishna is talking about the Avirbhavam of Ganga. Avirbhavam means the avataram of Ganga. How is that Ganga can come to the earth, or what was done for the Ganga to come to the earth actually? So at that point of time, the Charitram is going to the next level. The story is going to unfold with another personality called as Bhagiratan. Bhagiratan. And who is this Bhagiratan? Bhagiratan is the one who performed the tapas to bring Ganga to our Bhumi. And why did Bhagiratan wanted this Ganga to come in actually? So the Charitram is unfolding to say that in Bhagiratan's family, there was this, before 7 generations, there was this particular Raja called as Shakara Raja. Shakara Raja was there, and this Shakara Raja is actually in the Pitrulokam along with his entire 64 children, and he is suffering, it seems. This was found by Bhagiratan. And why did Bhagiratan actually found this? Because Bhagiratan is not having Putra Prapti, it seems. And upon not having putra prapti, because we wanted santana prapti, because we wanted our families to go to the next levels, and the putras will perform the satkaryam to us. I'm talking about that point of time, not now. So like they wanted to perform the satkaryam to us, and then that all these dimensions of the blood lineage, family taking forward, and all these aspects are there. But this was exhausted for Bhagirathan. And Bhagirathan wanted to find the answer. And when he wanted to find the answer, he realized that 7 generations before, his great 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 grandfather, who was the Chakara Chakravarti, actually is suffering in what is called as Pitrulokam, and there is no Atma Mukti has been done for him, it seems. And not just him, his 64 children are also suffering there actually. Now the question is, now after knowing this, Bhagirathan wanted to actually, release them from the suffering that they are having for 7 generations. They are suffering in what is called as the Pitrulokam. So now what is happening? Bhagirathan wanted to release them and realized that he needed to release them not just like that, but he has to perform what is called as the Pitru Tarpana Karyam. And for that Tarpanam, he needs this powerful Jalam, which is there as the celestial river, which is flowing in Indralokam. Because Brahma, after washing the legs of Mahavishnu during the Pavana, Pavana avataram of Vamana Swarupam, has given the water to the Indralokam, it seems, and as a celestial river, it is flowing there. And that celestial river has to come down to earth so that this Pitru Tarpanam can be performed in Kashi Kshetram, so that they can be released, and then the Saba Vimochanam will take place, and then Bhagirathan can have what is called as Putra Prapti. But now this is not that easy. So what Chakaran is doing, what Bhagirathan is doing, Bhagirathan is going to perform tapas towards Brahma. But before that, who is narrating all these stories to Bhagirathan? You didn't ask me that question. Correct, na? Somebody is telling all these stories to Bhagirathan, right? Yama is narrating the stories actually. Because Bhagirathan had the powers to travel to the other world, so he went to the Pitrulokam, right? So who is the Adipati to tell all these stories? Yama himself is directly giving the report. See, boss, this is the reason your family is suffering here. They have been constantly fried in that, big Yennai chatti. They have been constantly fried for so many janmas. They have been fried. If you want to release them, this is the story behind it. You do what is possible, actually. That is what Yama is directly narrating all these stories to Bhagirathan. And Yama, because Bhagirathan is a tapasvi, that we should understand. Jokes apart, he's a very big tapasvi. And because of his tapasvi only, he could find out the reasons. Actually, why, because this question of why is a very important thing for most of us. Why we are suffering? What is the reason? What is the backdrop? How can I rectify? So many questions. But he is very intelligent enough, rather he's powerful enough to understand why this suffering is there in his life, actually. And now to rectify this, he is further instructed in a particular way to end the suffering. But before that, Yama is further narrating the story as why did actually the Chakara Chakravarti, that is his forefather, landed up in not getting Vimukti. So it seems that Chakara Chakravarti wanted to perform what is called as Ashwamedha Yajna. Because everybody wanted Indralokam, right? Actually, at the end of the day, everybody, I do not know what is there in Indralokam, seriously. So he wanted Indralokam, and for Indra Padavi Prapti, Chakara Maharaja is performing what is called as Ashwamedha Yajna. Knowing this, the Chakara Chakravarti is performing what is called as the Yajna, Ashwamedha Yajna. In the Ashwamedha Yajna, there is something called as there is Ashwam. Ashwam means what? A horse, and that horse will be let out for what is called as Dikvijaya Palanam, Dikvijaya Paripalanam. It will go on all the directions and come back to the the original space where the Mahayajna is taking place. And wherever it is going and coming, all those are considered to be the Raja's property, actually. It is the Sampurna Digvijayam. So this Ashwamedha Yajnam was supposed to be that this horse is supposed to travel to what called as Indra Lokam itself. That powerful Mahayajna they are performing, actually. Forget about it traveling somewhere in the sacred geography of the Bharata Desham. It is traveling to what is called as Indra Lokam itself. Of course, Indra is very worried, actually. Now this horse is going to land up in, in Indra Lokam. What will happen? Indra has to vacate, right? So what they will do, they are also intelligent in their own ways. So Indra, under the leadership of Indra, the inmates of the Indra Lokam, they go and catch hold of this Ashwamedham, actually. Okay, very funny stories, right? It sounds like schoolboys fighting around for doing all these things. So they will go and catch hold of this Ashwam, and what they will do, they will go and hide this Ashwam in Kapila Muni ashram, actually. In Kapila Muni's ashram, they are going and hiding it, actually. Now, after getting, after hidden, they are knowing that because the Digvijayam is not happening, the horse is missing. This Chakara Maharshi has two Dharmapatni, two wives. One wife is having 60,000 children. 60,000 children. And the other wife is having only one child, it seems. Only one child. So now that the Ashwam is missing, what happens? All these 60,000 children, along with Chakara Maharaja, went on different directions to go and find for the Ashwam. That is for the horse. Of course, 60,000 people, so they will easily find out, and they are also having some tapas, and they are having some kind of, drishti. That is, they have some kind of powers. They land up realizing that the Ashwam is hidden in what is called as Kapila Muni Ashram. And they land up in Kapila Muni Ashram. Silently, they should have brought it. They thought that they have done a great Vijayi Prapti and everything. Though they land up accusing Kapila Muni without even knowing, actually. And let me not even tell you Kapila Mahamuni's, powers. He's a great tapasvi. If I have to tell Kapila Muni, it will get into another story. So I'm not telling that. I'm simply finishing off saying that Kapila Muni is a Maha Tapasvi, a great, powerful sage. So they are landed up accusing, just like the way we speak now, when we are in anger, whatever comes to our mouth, we will land up talking like that. They started speaking all kinds of things for Kapila Muni. And Kapila Muni is in deep tapas. He is in doing deep penance. And they create such a rucks that Kapila Muni opened his eyes and he took the water in the mandalam and he chanted the mantra and poured on them. And that second, everybody became ashes, actually. All the 60,000 plus that their father, instant bhasmam. So they are gone. And they were not even traceable, it seems. That is the most important thing. What happened to the ashram? What happened to these 60,000 people? Not known to anybody. So was this one person who was left? The other wives, one child is left, right? So he is the one who is now alive, actually. The rest, everybody is finished into ashes, and they are also having what is called as the Saba Karanam. They are having the curse of Kapila Muni also. And this one boy, that is the second wife's son, he is the one, the generations have passed, and it has come up to who? Bhagirathan. And now Bhagirathan has got to know this is the suffering that their ancestors are undergoing in the Pitrulokam. And now, unless and until he will not revive them, this is, he will also be a part of that same. That's the reason he is not having Putra Prapti. His dynasty is coming to an end, and he is also eventually going to land up in that same Lokam only. Obviously, he has to do something himself and also all those people who are suffering for 7 generations. They are suffering, actually. And this 7 generation is very important. You realize, you understand? 7 janmas, 7 janmas and 7 cycles are considered to be a very important concept for us, actually. The 7th janma, we have been given the human janma, and in 7th janma, somewhere the other, due to our punya karmas and vasanas, that we are introduced to these higher dimensions or the esoteric dimensions of the spirituality. This means that what? We are all in 7th janma. That's the reason coming closer to this knowledge somewhere. Now we have to be intelligent enough to take this knowledge, live this knowledge, so that we go to higher planet actually, rather than coming back and starting again like sonnamari pullagum puluagum. You start again your birth and death cycle as as insects, and then come to the human cycle, and then the human cycle to the seventh cycle of human. Imagine you want to undergo all these torture or you want to do sadhana, you decide for yourself. So now, so the seventh cycle, so now our Bhagirath has to end this. So he has to bring what? Ganga. Now he has understood very clearly Ganga has to come down from earth actually. From the celestial world, Ganga has to come down to this Pavitra Pavana Bhumi that is called as Kashi. And in this particular place, I have to perform what is called as Tarpanam. Now, how Bhagirath Maha Tapasvi is going to do this, let me explain to you in the next session actually. Thank you so much. Let me end the session with Mangalam. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trayambhake Gauri Narayani Namostute Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshamak Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvam Shri Chandi Mahalakshmi Arpanamastu Tathastu. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.